Okay. Hi guys. It has been a long, long time, and I apologize for that. But I do have some remnants of an explanation. For the first 2 months, I was kind of procrastinating, up until summer break. I was gonna do it. Honestly, I was planning on doing something then. Like I had this whole thing set up for myself. I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it, but I didn't. Um, and then I was moving into sixth form. If you're in America or something, like high school basically, or like high school, I think. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't know. But yeah, so life got a little bit harder. There was more like stuff I needed to do because I'm doing some very intense coursework stuff. So yeah, I didn't really have much time to like plan everything out. Then when I finally had a break where I could do it, I had a period where I lost my phone, so I had to buy a new one, and yada yada yada. I set some stuff up, and then now, and yeah, I have literally just spent the last hour or two, um, like writing everything for these few parts that I've got out. Literally everything that's happened throughout them. I've noticed a few plot holes that I have. I'm not patching them up, but I'm just gonna let you guys deal with that. But yeah, I planned out this part. Yeah. Anyway, happy New Year, and let's get right into the what ifs. What if Ichigo was sent back in time? As Ichigo unleashed his Bankai against the Menos Grande, um, his bow, his bow, so his Shikai, dissipated it, breaking into pieces, and floating up to his back. A crown appeared on his head, and all of this was glowing in a similar black and blue energy to his bow, how his bow had been previously. If you look to the screen, you'll see a basic show sign of how it would kind of have looked. Similar to how the Quincy's had their special form during the Quincy Blood War. During those few seconds, Uryu watched in horror and like complete mortification, as well as the few surrounding viewers, such as Aizen himself, who had been in the background watching this occur in the first place, and watching the Menos Grande that he had delivered himself under the cover of the bait. And horror, so this included people, Rukia as well. Chad and Orihime had just run over. They were at a cliff edge sort of thing where they could see this. Then thousands upon millions upon trillions of arrows that appeared similar to the Cera-based arrows he'd been using previously. However, the lustrous blues that had been on his bow previously and now on his wings were more appearing here rather than the original red and black that these arrows produced in the Shikai form. Ichigo then said, "Fly." And all of the arrows burst into the Menos Grande at a striking speed. It absolutely terrifying. As every single arrow hit the the Menos Grande, they didn't even blow up. They didn't stop on contact. They just pierced directly through it, leaving small explosions behind. Even though minor and insignificant, they did major damages to a being such as a Menos. As the arrows hit the ground, one could see what would happen if they hit something tough enough, which is that minor explosions appeared on the ground with small craters appearing. Ichigo, with a shade over his eyes, ironically in this bright and yet darkened form of his. And then he, without anyone realizing it, realizing that he'd risen in the first place, descended, touching the ground, and let his Bankai break away, as well as his clothing, back into his original civilian clothing that he'd been in before any of this occurred. He then turned to Uryu, who was still in shock and terrified of what he'd just seen, and himself had been slightly edgingly turning towards Ichigo's face from the view of the Menos. Ichigo then says, "Let's be partners, okay?" Now, I understand if this is a little bit weird, but understand me here that this Ichigo, again, he is... I was trying to originally, part 1, I think, I was basically trying to give him this Urahara-like personality. I completely botched... No, even in part 0, sorry, I had been doing this, and I completely botched that in past 2 parts, because while I think they were fine, they are not the understanding and standards I have kind of now, because as I mentioned in my previous video, I have made some fanfics and web novel, and I've kind of seen a lot more things, and I think I generally do things better now. My thought process is a little bit clearer, but yeah. Anyway, let me continue with the story. Preceding this event, the viewers, such as Aizen and Rukia and such people, basically disappeared, going back to their Soul Society. And Rukia, due to her standing in her corpse and such, had to report all of this to the captains and such, who again then proceeded to announce it to the other captains, the captain commander, Yamamoto, who proceeded to tell that to the other captains of Division 1 to 12. Zero, of course, was not notified by this, as they are the Zero Division. They protect the Soul King. They do not give a damn about anyone else. But yeah. So, immediately after this, multiple divisions, especially the captain of the 11th, placed in requests to meet this person, to experience his Bankai and his power, because, it's not every day you see someone casually become captain class, because if you don't know, Rukia herself mentions how in their history, Menos Grandes was supposed to be only be killable by captains. Now, of course, I'm assuming that is based on the standards of today's lieutenants and such, as it's actually shown quite easily that within a few years they could become more powerful. I'm just guessing people become lazy after they get into any group. But yeah. But back on Earth, in our realm, Midgard, all that jazz, Ichigo and his group of friends and his new friend Uryu, they are living a normal teenage high school life. As I mentioned previously, due to the lack of involvement of Rukia, he is going out less, etc. He, even if he has grown as a person, even if I did mention just now that he's got more of an Urahara perspective on things, as in he's more planning and stuff, he's still got that previous mentality of being a protector. I mean, his name literally means protector, or something like that. So, basically, Ichigo has still got this mindset where he has to do everything himself. He has to be the person who takes care of the problems. He takes care of everything. He's the protector of his friends, his family, whatever. So he never trains anyone. It doesn't even cross his mind because, again, why would they need to be trained? He can take care of everything himself. So yeah, they just end up living out their normal lives. Uryu still likes not knitting stuff. But yeah, also due to the fact that Rukia didn't actually have to be taken in this timeline, Con never existed. Even before that, Con never existed. Con never needed to exist because Ichigo had the body separation thing, the body soul combination, whatever. So Con never needed to exist. So Con is still an orb trapped underneath all of Urahara's trash. But yeah, one day he may see the light, but for now, no, he won't. But yeah. So Ichigo spends the next few weeks, living with his family. He starts trying to make greater precedents now because he understands already that revealing this would aggravate certain people. In his mind, these certain people is specifically Aizen. Because in his perspective, all he sees is Aizen. He sees Aizen and Yoash as the only threats to him. Because again, those are the two big bags in his mind. He doesn't think about the other people that could be there. So yeah, he is a little wary, but yeah. Throughout these weeks, of course he will every so often clear a few hollows, but then again they've got Rukia. She does her stuff. Chad or Hime have both been training throughout this period of time. Again, if you got new powers, new very, very, very cool powers, like Chad's, devil arm and or Hime's hairpins that can literally erase reality. So OP. Yeah, you wouldn't expect to use them. So these two, while they may not spar with one another, they will find ways to just use them. Maybe Orihime uses them to help her clean the house. I don't know. But yeah, they are trying to hide this from Ichigo because Ichigo, it's pretty obvious the type of person he is. They know he's the type of person who's just worried about danger and stuff that may come to them, so they don't mention it. They don't want him to know that they could be putting themselves in danger. Others have tried to speak to him about it, so like his parents and siblings. But yeah. So his parents, his siblings have all attempted to, they will slightly hint at it. Of course, Ichigo is not a naive fool, but he does, he doesn't want to reveal the truth yet. Now, in the first part, he had revealed a few things to them, but well, that doesn't. Well, his he realized the issue there. Again, this is a person. He may be mature, but he is being sent into a previous body. So yeah, he. So in part one, he did have that moment where he did tell them. Of course, after their memories had been wiped by Rukia, he realized his issue, his mistake there. But yeah, so he doesn't actually tell them. Of course, his mother and his father are both worried. They both understand what's going on. His siblings are more aware of what's going on now. Of course, they're not as mature as previously because, of course, they are still growing up in that a normal family, so they don't have to mature faster. But yeah, honestly, his life would have gone the same as how it did before. The only issue now is that in his friendship group, Oryu's morale has been lowered. He is... Well, think of Sasuke. when he visibly sees Naruto starting to gain power. Like the Scaredy Cat scene where Naruto casually blocks a snake from appearing in front of Sasuke and calls him Scaredy Cat. And those sorts of things and then Sasuke eventually gets like really becomes more of a rival. The Rasengan, etc., etc. That kind of, that sort of thing. That's kind of similar to what happens here to Uryu. His morale has been decreased. He's not going to train, screw that, but he's going to start feeling down. He's affected by it. But yeah. So during these weeks, Ichigo has not seen Rukia. He has not seen any Soul Reapers, so he himself has been going out to take care of Hollows. Of course, not too many, but yeah. And he's unaware of why. He assumes he knows why, but he doesn't really. What has happened is, as I said previously, after stating that people have had to put in like requests to go there, and Rukia has been held back. Because what is really happening here is that they are like trying to get into Central 42 or 34, whatever it's called, to basically know what to do next. And until they get like a response to whether they can meet this person, they're not going to do anything. Because again, Soul Society is really weird and dumb. But again, they've got rules. They're very traditionalist and stuff. But yeah, so after weeks of not hearing anything from Rukia, after weeks of basically just being alone and stuff, something strange happens. Ichigo is walking home, the same route where he originally actually encountered Renji and Byakuya. Byakugan. And basically, in this, he of course meets, ironically, a soul gate thing opens up, and someone walks out of it wearing a Shinigami robe and a captain's cloak thing, yukata. And Ichigo sees this, and he automatically is like, wait, but Byakuya and Renji shouldn't come this time. This time, Rukia never had to stay here. She's not in a position where she had to be executed and taken away. So, why are they here? But he pauses in his words as he sees who's actually coming out. He sees Mayuri and his assistant / daughter thing. And he's utterly confused. Then he realizes what he has not been thinking about all this time, just as Mayuri starts speaking. He realizes that he forgot about the other people who could be interested in somehow killing him or taking him away. And then Mayuri starts talking. Now, again, I don't actually remember how Mayuri talks, so I'm putting my own twist on it. Now, yes, Ichigo Kurosaki. In the Soul Land, in the Sirte, we've heard of your exploits. Killing a Melos Grande is a captain-class feat. It's quite impressive. And a banker at such a young age. Oof, that is amazing. But why is that? You even have a bow-based Shikai. An interesting thing, reminiscent of those Quincy's of old. I'd love to peel you open, peel back the layers of tissue, the muscle, your muscle, your skin, your fibers. I'd like to see every molecule of you. You intrigue me, Ichigo. I want to cut open your body and see what makes you so strong. As Mayuri is having this maniacal face and going through this almost excited yet spiteful phase, with his daughter standing there with a lack of expression. Ichigo just says, well, too bad, okay? Just back off, creep. Mayuri then says, well, I understand that you have great power, but be aware that in your greatest strife, I will appear and I will take your body no matter the cost. Doesn't matter to me whether you're alive or dead. Although preferable to be alive so I can understand more of your motor functions and such. You don't need to be. Mayuri then, Ichigo then says, fine, whatever. Waves his hand up, throwing his Zanpakuto directly into Mayuri's leg. Then D-summons it and, yeah. But this is a warning. Ichigo then walks off, going home. And Mayuri's just chuckling to himself with an angered expression. And then, out of nowhere, a blue bolt similar to an arrow streaks by, hitting Mayuri in the face, and attempting to hit his other legs. Now with a burn mark on his forehead, Mayuri, with his namak, or whatever it's called, the pharaoh's headdress, grabs each of these reactive arrows coming towards him, and snaps them in half, looking up to see Uryu in his normal Quincy garb, on top of a roof, firing towards him. Mayuri's just like, I've already dealt with enough Quincy's. I don't care if you're back, but I've already done enough research. That old man really helped. Uryu, apparently already knowing about this, already knowing that Sorry has had something to do with the disappearance of his uncle, of his old man, and all that stuff, gets angry and starts firing arrow after arrow after arrow. His fingers already bleeding, going through the 100th shot already, with this doing nothing to Mayuri. Mayuri goes into a Shikai form, using Shunpo to get as close to him as possible. But then two fairy-like creatures appear behind Uryu, where Mayuri is about to strike, and Orihime appears, and an orange layer appears as she says, I reject! And the attack that Mayuri attempts to use on Uryu is rejected. It is stopped. It cannot go any further. Then again, Chad drops from the sky. Keep in mind they're on top of a roof currently. Drops from the sky and slams Mayuri's head down into the roof, creating a small crater. A few seconds earlier, what had happened was Chad and had been purely just, night walking, coming back from a place that he should not have discovered yet. And Orihime had just come back from some night shopping with her strange ingredients. She's got a large spring onion. She's got a few tomatoes. Then she's got a whole bar of cheese. Actually, these aren't really weird ingredients. But she also has chili, ghost peppers specifically. She has just whatever weird ingredients other than that you can think of. I can't think of any weird ingredients. I don't know. She has some chocolate. She has some baking soda. She has a whole fish, and like it's not gutted or anything. It's just as if it was just fished out of the river, and such and such. She's got a plethora of weird foods. I keep on moving my screen. I apologize for that. But yeah. So yeah, she'd been walking back home from that. Chad, being a Chad, just casually walking back from a place that is undisclosed for now. You real Ichigo, you real Bleach fans know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so then, yeah, then the events of canon happened as they, I say canon, but the events that were just occurring to Uryu, happen, and they hear like the sound of arrows swinging by, and they realize what's going on, so they run over, with Orihime, dropping her bag as she runs, and already unbuckling her, was it earrings or was it hairbands or something? I don't remember. But yeah. So yeah, then skipping ahead, we're back where we are. Mayuri is now utterly pissed. Some brat, with her, they're called hairpins, aren't they? With these strange small creatures, had just stopped him from killing his prey, and then a man with a strange blackened arm just slammed him into the ground. He is utterly furious. Mayuri just then proceeds to say, "You bastards! You brats! I'll fucking kill you all!" Now, of course, this may seem out of character for Mayuri, but remember, he is definitely a very emotional person. Even if he tries to, he's a very easily spiteful person. And having your head slashed slammed to the ground is going to make you pissed. He then proceeds to get his Shikai again, backing off of a Shimpo, and then says, "Bon Kai!" And a massive golden baby thing, flesh baby, red baby. I think it was a red baby, with I think flowers in its eyes. But yeah, just search up Mayuri's first Bankai sign showing. And he proceeds to attack them. Now, if I remember, the way he attacks is through poison mainly. So, yeah. And yeah, he's generally just attacking them, inducing them with extremely high toxic poisons, making them drop like flies. Uryu here is realizing already he is not trained enough. And he's put these friends of his in danger because he just rushed straight into a battle, knowing that Ichigo was gone and couldn't stop him. But yeah. But Chad, being Chad, as a Chad he is, proceeds to say, "Orihime, reject the poison." No, sorry, I need a more gruff voice. "Orihime, reject the poison." As he stands up with his massive ass hands, and just picks himself up, and and then he just slowly, weakly walks forwards, getting stronger and stronger every step he takes, which is kind of ironic because he should be getting weaker each step he takes. And then Orihime, finally realizing what she can do, rejects the poison out of her system, then proceeds to reject the poison out of the other two system. Chad then starts running forwards, leaps at the baby. Sounds so really weird. The baby. And slams it through the face, bursting its head like a pimple. During this, Oryu is already on his feet, no longer bleeding from his hands, because again, Orihime's ability rejects everything, being impurities or your flesh being damaged. So Oreo already having rough skin from basically healing from everything. Actually, no, because she's rejecting time, she's reversing it. So no, it's kind of the opposite way around. He wouldn't have any rough patches on his skin, or at least they would be only as rough as it was before the fight. But yeah. So he then proceeds to start firing arrows again at Mayuri, who is taken off guard by this because he just didn't expect Orihime to have this ability. He's like, "Wait, what? You couldn't have adapted that poison that quickly. Seems I need to make more tests." Ori then screams out, "You bastard, you won't do that!" Why is my accent going so American? I'm not even American. What? Anyway, it feels American. With arrows then having pierced Mayuri several times over. Mayuri then goes over to his daughter, who he tells to basically like heal him and shit. She begins doing that, but before she can, Chad, who had just burst the child's head like a pimple, runs forwards with Orihime making a platform for him to jump off of, and slams both of them. So in one punch, he got, realizing that Uryu has such a big problem with Mayuri, and the fact that Mayuri just tried to poison them and kill them, his hand, now while he's also going through an existential crisis of murdering someone, his hand goes directly through Mayuri's chest and punches the girl. Now, she doesn't actually get harmed because he can tell that she doesn't really have much of a role to play in this. I mean, after all, she's literally just been standing silent. Like, she's just healing this person. But yeah. So she is knocked out and sent flying away. But Mayuri is now coughing up blood. He's got blood pouring all over Chad's arms. Chad is absolutely terrified, okay? He may be a Chad, but he's never killed someone before. But yeah, yeah. Because even if you were completely prepared to kill someone, you're still going to have small difficulties. But someone like Chad, who has never actually killed before and has been taught to love life by his uncle, if I remember correctly, will not be completely fine with this. So Chad then begins to cry and like be scared, pulls out his arm and just kind of like grips the necklace from his grandfather or uncle, I really don't remember which one it was, and basically just like kind of prays for this person, even if he may hate, if there may be such disgust and resentment between them. Oreo, of course, not having any of this and just hating Mario's guts, then proceeds to pull out his bow again and fires a shot right through Mario's head, insta killing him. But yeah, Oreo stands up, going over to Orihime to help her, and they both go over to comfort Chad. To a window of a higher building, Ichigo is in fact there with his bow out, and he was prepared the entire time to save the three of them, and kill Mayuri. Again, Ichigo has no cares for Mayuri. He has no cares for anyone really, except for his friends and family. Because again, he is someone who experienced the 1000 War arc. He is someone who experienced the death of many people who he has killed himself, and who, you get my drift. On top of that, he knows what Mayuri has did. Even if in the future, he was going to have an okay relationship with him, they didn't really get in each other's way. Yeah, he is still perfectly fine with this, and he was ready to kill Mayuri at a second's notice. He then disperses everything and walks away. The next day, it happens to be a school day, so they are all going in, and on the way to school, Ichigo mentions to Uryu, "You've been having some cool fights recently, haven't you?" But yeah, I was thinking I wanted to go to Soul Society recently. I met someone recently from Soul Society, and I just wanted to see how it was going there. Now, of course, Uryu is stunned, but then thinks to himself, it's Ichigo. I should have expected he'd know. And yeah. The day goes by, and as they leave, I've just skipped an entire day, but yeah, as they leave, Orihime, Chad, Ichigo, Uryu, the other friends who no one cares about, you know, like I think it was Takemichi or something like that. Takashi, something like that. The girl who has literally got the only trait of being a lesbian, like there is no other trait. The MILF hunter and the lonely virgin guy. Those are the traits. Yeah. But yeah. In front of them, a man in a bucket hat with white and dark green stripes, a large hori and robe. What's it called? Word I can't remember. Yukata. That's it. And wooden sandals, and a fan appears in front of them and says, "Would you like to see Soul Society?" Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this part. I had a lot of fun making it. And actually, as you can tell with the lack of stumbling all the time, I did plan it. I planned out only a few points. But yeah, comment, suggestions and stuff, because I haven't really got plans for the rest of the stuff. And yeah, Happy New Year's Eve, and Happy New Year's. And have a lovely next 2022. Yeah.